Go online. Are we good? Are we online? Are we okay? Can you hear me? Can I hear you? Hopefully everyone's okay. If you can hear me, let me know. Once I know, we'll be good to go. Go. All right. You can hear me. Cool. Thank you. Ba 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 ba. Right. I think we're fine. Sup, shitters. My name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to this ESP live streams. The top 5 tracks on Spotify for a band named Mayday, who I have done some work with in the past. We reviewed a few of their songs, but pleasurably. Bobcat, sup Bobcat Wang, how you doing? Pleasurably, I don't think we've reviewed any of the top 5 tracks that we have here today. If we have, I apologize, but I can't see a like on any of them. And I've liked a couple of songs by Mayday. I can't guarantee that there is not one of the songs I've reviewed outside of this within this live stream. I know I did review one of their bigger ones at some point, Celebrations or Cheers or something like that, which is a great song. It's one of the most emotionally moving experiences I've had as a music reviewer. With that really, sup Kinfei, yep, how you doing? One of the most emotionally moving experiences. I adore Mayday for their musicianship, the stories that they tell, and I'm stoked with the chance to be able to review them. I have got the lyrics for all 5 tracks, so that's great. You know, we're not gonna have to worry about, touch wood. We're not gonna have to worry about any translation issues. But I think we've got all 5 tracks here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it should be fine. I'm hoping for like a nice, really easy stream today, I think. We learned how to play guitar by listening to Mayday. Well, that's cool. That's awesome. Hopefully there'll be some tracks that you might have learnt today. The first track that we're going to listen through today is titled Eloping to the Moon, which, as I understand it, is by Mayday as well as Cheer Chin. So without further ado, we're going to listen to these top 5 tracks from start to finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Sup Andres, how you doing, bud? You alright? We're going to listen through these tracks from start to finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Starting with Eloping to the Moon. Let's go. That's really interesting with the phone notification like straight off the bat. You know, it's cool when we have little bits of folio sound effects that you wouldn't typically expect. I'm kind of guessing it's about people communicating via their cell phones. Really pretty vocals from both singers involved. I think that Cheer Chin is potentially the lady that's singing in the second half of that first verse stanza that we heard. They're very gentle vocal performances, and I love the combination of that with the guitars and everything else involved. Oh, harmonies here, cool. Just before we go into this chorus, the harmony is fun. We don't just have the same 4 chords. We've got some interesting harmonic changes there where we play around with expectations a little bit. The transitions are clean and seamless, and the performance is solid. I'm really happy with what I've heard so far. It is a soft song, you're right, JJ. It is a soft song, but at the same time, I kind of appreciate that. When you're listening to a band for the first time, sometimes having something a little bit more gentle is kind of what we need, because it allows us to easily sort of seg into any of the heavier stuff that's going on, you know? I appreciate the musicianship nonetheless. That drum fill that we just had there, as well as the variation in the vocal melodies in that chorus there, were excellent. I'm really, it's a great song. It's just really well written. Constant change with the vocal production as well. What I'm liking as well is that there's this really soft synthesizer or like an electric keyboard in the background there as a sub-layer underneath the guitar parts, along with I think Cher's vocals, and it adds a nice bit of mid-range coloration to her vocal performance. Yeah, the panning for the male vocalist's part in the first half of the verse was really interesting as well. It's very different. Very different to what we have typically with the vocals in the center, and I like the fact that we're diversifying ourselves and keeping it fresh. I'm back in a very perky sounding chorus section. Sup, Harden Plus? How you doing? Oh, cool change here. Oh, that's an interesting lead line on the left. Very kind of bluesy. I like the tension build up with those bends there. Allowing for the vocals to stay in the center. That's an interesting production choice there. That's cool. Cool. Nice resolution there. Can you hear that development of that synth layer in the background? I thoroughly enjoy that. The fact that we can add a bit of extra intricacy in that sub-layer there, just to elevate that song further, make it a little bit more energetic, but that it's not sort of being shoved in your face. Oh, it's a boba shop jam. Is boba like the little spheres that you get in the tea? Is that like boba tea or something like that? Because we have it in New Zealand, but I quite like the taste of it, eh? Back to that solo section. Okay. Excellent. Oh, interesting delay repeater there. It's got a great sense of pace to it. I think that this is really good start to the live stream, eh? I've been wanting to do Mayday for a top 5 Spotify for quite a while. As again, I've reviewed a bit of their work in the last while. But at the same time, it's just taken a while for various reasons, and I'm glad that we're doing another like set of these over the next foreseeable future, because You know, people have asked why I don't do the JHL 5th album, and it's because, again, we're waiting for 5,000 subs. So whenever that happens, we'll do it. I'm not rushing towards 5k subs. I just want to enjoy the ride. It's a lot of work to try and force a channel to a certain point. And I just want to enjoy the time and keep it nice and organic and authentic, you know? But yeah, great. I thoroughly appreciate the sense of warmth that I got overall from that track. The musicianship, especially those solo sections and the drum fills and the vocal harmonies, both the singers separate and together, sounded like they meshed and there was great chemistry there. Great first, we'll go to the lyrics now. Great first lot. Eloping to the moon. A ruthless thief. Okay. But you are the one who kidnapped me on the motorcycle backseat in the gentle wind escaping from the ordinary. There are 50 million people missing every day. How lucky I am to have you stargazing with me. I like the fact that we're counting as we go along with these lyrics. The carefree vacuum, the bliss of pure moonlight. So I think this track so far is about people enjoying the moment, spending their time with each other, celebrating the small things, the connections that they have. Yeah, it appears that they've done it live as well. And two singers are so cute together. Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, they've got a play on words for Loneliness Terminator in that end part there. Cool. Yeah, look at the moon like a pupil of the night sky, gazing at us in our chaotic planet. I like that we're bringing all this stuff in about the earth and the moon and fate and that to describe ourselves looking at those stars and finding a sense of kinship and peace within the world. Sup, Jacob? How you doing? How you doing? Hello to everyone watching the live stream. Thank you for coming along for this top 5 Spotify. For Mayday. It's been a good time so far. I've really enjoyed listening to Eloping to the Moon. Lyrics and composition by Ashin. I'm assuming Ashin might be the person who wrote it within the band. I could be wrong though. But yeah, especially with those synth parts and the choruses when they were talking about being together and crossing paths and stuff like that. I think that it sounded very like bright, like the stars and the size. You're very, very pretty. I think that the song again needed to be gentle to emotionally communicate whatever was left missing by the story that was being told. And great first impression of them. You know, if I was new to Mayday, I'd be very happy with it. But yeah, I'm also, these songs are very pop. Sadly, Spotify and general public prefer these to their more heavier and exciting stuff. Yeah. Yeah, some people get really angry about it. Some people get really angry about the fact that I've done the top 5 in Spotify for these musicians, I suppose, because they're annoyed that I haven't got the specific songs in it that they think better represent the artist, which I totally respect, you know, because, you know, I get it. When you're a fan of a musician, you want that musician to have the best possible exposure, especially when, you know, while this YouTube channel is still very small, there's a few thousand people that occasionally may watch a live stream, and especially if they are new listeners, you know, you want that first impression to be strong, so I get it. I just think this is part of why I like listening to Mayday stuff. This is why I do fan requests, because in fan request live streams, people can just, they can request the tracks that we don't get to listen to otherwise, you know. I get to hear their popular stuff, but I also get to hear their like more kind of alternative stuff outside of that, which is cool. By the way, if you haven't had a look recently, the Spiderhands Productions the Spotify fan request playlist or whatever it was, we recently got to 100 songs in it. So that's awesome. So if you're looking for new music to check out, I would thoroughly recommend going and checking out that playlist. There's a lot of really, really cool music in it. I'm looking forward to when like we get to a point where like if I go on a road trip somewhere, and if I'm like not able to do live streams for a while for whatever reason, I can have that playlist on Spotify and be reminded of all the cool music that we listen to together. But yeah, that's the first track. Eloping to the Moon. What's the next one? It's I Will Not Let You Be Alone, if I'm not mistaken. I Will Not Let You Be Alone. By the way, Jacob, all the 5 songs have lyrics, man. I can't guarantee they'll be the same quality lyrics as the ones that you're able to source, but it's all good. They seem to make legible sense. So we've got, yeah, track number 4. Or number 2 for tonight, should I say. It's pretty with the piano though. Oh, the strings are nice as well. I'm wondering if we've actually reviewed this track before, because I recognize the album art, and I think it was a song that had quite a lot of attention. So maybe one we've reviewed before, and I'm sorry about that if that's the case. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm a massive fan of that vocal melody there. I know that we don't typically need to resolve it by going back to like a triad note, but like, I didn't like how he held it up there, you know? The change is quite sudden. Oh, okay, we're going with some jazzy 7th harmonies here. Yeah, I didn't like it the second time either. I'm wanting it to modulate the sequence melodically that we had in the first section, and the vocalist isn't wanting to do that, and I think it's fine if you want to infer that a shift is about to occur. But at the same time, that bass resonance is nice though, isn't it? And nice to have the drums come in here. It's nice to have this lead guitar part come into this particular section. I enjoy that. I think it's kind of charming. The music, because there's bits I appreciate about Mayday from the previous song. Like at one point we had like a lead guitar on the left, and then we had a clean guitar on the right. And by lead I mean distorted, and then a clean guitar, and we were harmonizing with those two. They love messing with different textures and trying to incorporate them all together, and they have a firm understanding of where that's appropriate and where it works best. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Here we go. I wonder what the decision process was for that decision though. Okay, I think a guitar solo makes sense here. I appreciate what was done in that latter half of that solo. I think the first half was fantastic because they were voicing it more like the singer would, you know. But then they shredded up with that upwards, the upward scale run there. And I'm liking that it's continuing to resonate with the vocals as well as they come back to sort of reinforce and reintroduce the main vocal thing. And that bass guitar doing call and response. What's up, RC? How you doing? What I notice about it as well is that it's really easy to hum along to it. He's really easy to hum along to these melodies. They're really memorable and easily digestible, and I think that's part of what makes them catchy. Nice use of those side pan strings to fill in the space. You know, like, I know that maybe this is the more generic poppy stuff that Mayday do, but at the same time, I kind of appreciate the little string plucks and stuff like that. I like that we're not relying on traditional acoustic rock instruments. When we have a track like this, even if it's kind of maybe less interesting than the alternative stuff, I nonetheless appreciate that they've put in significant effort to, again, trying to not just have that guitar, bass, drum set up there, even though I think the bassist is doing a splendid job of approaching his part in the mix. I like how the bassist is elevating himself into the next octave range when there's space to do so, when there's not vocals, because even if the bass is lower in the range, you know, than say like a guitarist or the vocalist, he's also aware that if he goes into that higher range on his bass guitar up the fretboard, that could still potentially have some negative consequences for the other parts of the harmony, especially you know, especially if he is especially if he's being more explorative and not just playing the root notes. Nice dynamic range here. That's power of the mastering though as well. This is a pretty way to finish. I liked this one actually, I'll give that a heart. I like how we're returning to the piano part at the end. It's almost like we're concluding the journey that we've been on, you know? Well done, Mayday. That's yeah, I'm not quite sure why I'm hesitant to give this one a like. I think it's a well-written track. I just don't think it necessarily resonated as well with me, you know? Thanks Benjamin Yang for clarifying that Ashen is a lead vocalist. I thoroughly appreciate that. Jacob, Mayday has a few tracks that are heavy. Well, let's have a listen to some of those sometime, eh? And JJ says, there was one heavy song I heard that I like. Like, I think half of the bands that we listen to are capable of making really heavy stuff. At the same time, like, I think that it's a difficult time in the music industry at the moment, in the record industry. Like, as a musician nowadays, you've got to really kind of cling on to the songs that make you successful. When you're with a major label. Like, if you're an independent, you can probably take a few more risks. But especially with the reduced money that comes from like album sales and stuff like that, even though we've had lots of time to adjust for that, it can be risky, you know, if we don't take the urgency of like not being too experienced. And it sucks, you know, because I wish these guys could do more heavy tracks. But then with Jay Chou, as we've discussed in previous reviews, you know, Jay Chou writes songs like Dragon Fist and stuff like that, which are thoroughly fantastic, and songs off of, like, Her Eyelashes, I think, is my favorite Jay Chou song. But they just don't get the same amount of love as some of his softer stuff, and it's just different audiences, you know. Granted, I know that Spotify is like a small percentage of Jay Chou's audience, but you get the point. Yeah, if we haven't listened to the Mayday track where it's heavy, feel free to suggest it in a fan request playlist. You know, the thing tomorrow on Sundays, I'd be keen to check it out. But that's all good. So yeah, we've got I Will Not Let You Be Alone. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Have a quick look at this. Hopefully you're all having a great day today. You guys having a good day today? No, JJ, I haven't heard of Obsess. Are you talking about a band or are you talking about a song? The microphone that people helped me out with on Ko-fi is actually going to be here this coming week. So for the next live stream, well, the ones next weekend, the mic quality should be a little bit better. So that's good. Thanks again for the support with getting the SM7B vocal mic. I really appreciate that because I'm actually going to be doing more studio recording over the course of this year. Hence the stuff I'm doing with like the SB tutorials video that came out last night. And thanks to everyone who watched that. I love recording music, you know, and I want to help people to do that too. But yeah, thanks again for the help with the vocal mic. It's going to be well used. God, air can't replace you to other reply. Yeah, well, I mean, like, literally, the mic that is coming in next week is the same mic that Michael Jackson used to record Thriller. That's what the SM7B is. It's the vocal mic. It's the vocal mic, especially for male vocals, you know? Yeah, I'm keen to hear more of Obsessed JJ. I'm keen to hear more music from places like Taiwan and stuff like that. Cool. How am I able to save an extra warmth for you? I don't want to let you one person. I'm a big fan of Mayday too, my dude. Like, I just haven't listened to enough of their music. And when I have, I think part of it is just I need to know the language better, you know? Like, if I could read this stuff natively, it'd be a lot easier for me to remember the names. So I'm guessing that this has maybe been like about a breakup or something like that, and the singer or whoever wrote the song is basically hoping then wishing them well. I'm on their journey. That it's difficult to imagine them struggling on their own, but they're hoping that wherever they go, that things turn out okay. And they're hoping that that person that they are letting go will forget about themselves, you know, the people that are now single, you know? Malaysia has some nice rock bands. I'm sure they do, man. Like, honestly, like, here in New Zealand, the diet for people like me as a musician is primarily bands from the States. Bands from Europe, Australia, kinda, and New Zealand. We don't really hear about bands from Asia or, you know, Africa. You know, like, we don't hear about bands from other parts of the world, even though I know for sure that there are definitely out there, you know? Yeah. And just so everyone knows, and I know that people are busy with stuff, and I know you have lives, and it's fine, but the fan request is scheduled on the YouTube channel, so you can see it on the SB Livestreams playlist, and it's at 5:30 p.m. in New Zealand time, or 5:30 a.m. Universal Coordinated time. So that's cool. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, so I think this is a really, like, kind-hearted thing going on there. But anyways, look, that's it. That's the second song. We're on to the third now. What is the third song? The third song is Yunwei Ni Suo Yi Wo, or Because of You, apparently. This is what the song is. Yunwei Ni Suo Yi Wo, pinyin lyrics and English translation. Cool, let's go. Track number 3. Cool. Oh, this is So luxurious, dude. That's a fascinating intro to a song. I thought with the build up with the synthetic glitchy bits and all the other harmonic elements and the automation on the volume that we were gonna go into like big sounding, kind of like expansive, like distorted rock and stuff, but it was almost like Mayday instead tried to cover us in a musical blanket that was nice and warm and snuggly and bright. And Finland is the kingdom of rock. Yeah, I mean, I to be honest with you, RC, I haven't heard a lot of rock from Finland, so maybe we could listen to some more rock from Finland. You know, like, yeah, maybe we should have a world music theme. Maybe we should. Let's do a world music theme tomorrow. Let's do that. Let's have that for the fan request. I'll change it after this live stream, okay? Let's do it. Easy. Fantastic band. Sup, VSGF? How you doing? They're a fantastic band, dude. I just love this intro. It's gorgeous. My throat's a bit dry at the moment. I've been doing a lot of reviews recently, so I'm having to be kind of careful about my throat. And obviously when like I'm being careful about my throat and the way that I take care of it, there's a whole lot of review work and live stream stuff to do. Obviously we're going to do the live stream today and tomorrow. I enjoy those. They're great fun, but there's just a lot of other stuff as well, you know? I should probably clarify what a world music theme is. Yeah. We'll clarify the world music theme later on, okay? Before we finish. I gotta think on this a little bit. You know, I would like there to be more of a change between the verses and choruses, but I nonetheless appreciate the smoothness of it. I think the smoothness is kind of the point of it. We have some filter work and some really slick production that's helping keep the transitions sounding fresh. Can you like, and I'm really sorry, I know I keep pausing, there's just so much cool stuff to point out. Can you hear the ba-ba-ba-ba-ba on the really rare sides of left and right? Can you guys hear that extreme left and right synth sequencing going on? It's so dope, man. It's so clever, dude. What I will say is, though, there's less dynamic range to this performance, and I'm not really sure if I like that from a reduction standpoint. I can hear that the vocals are being pushed down a little bit. You can hear when he gets a bit more intense, it's still the same volume, and while I appreciate from like a mix and master perspective, that's often what you want. I appreciate the songs from Mayday where there is range there, where there's differences in the perceived loudness. Nah, VSGF, you did well. Good job for making it. You made it to the live stream, dude. Well done. Thank you for coming. Yeah, to be honest, I'm actually like thinking about this, and I'm almost tempted to take back a star, although I don't think this is something Mayday specifically had control over. Sometimes, especially with like, when was this produced? When was this released? Yeah, so this was released a year or two ago. Okay, so occasionally, you'll get people who are involved in like a perceived loudness war. Or they will just be trying to get the volume as perfect as possible. So they try and balance out everything so that the perceived loudness is as loud as it can be, so that it's competitive, you know? Like in the terms of a radio-friendly space or whatever the hell, you know? But the problem is that, like, with that drum fill, there was, you could hear it, and it was cool that we had a kind of a breakish kind of beat, a different kind of groove going beforehand. But there wasn't nearly as much power because of the fact there was that lesser dynamic range, and that's the shame because it sounds less human, if that makes any sense at all. It sounds less bombastic, and again, I know the point is smoothness, but it's just a bit of a shame, you know? Why did they keep the guitar there so quiet? I actually don't know if I want to like this one. I'm going to unlike it. If they redeem themselves... This is the first time I've unliked a song, by the way. It's not that I think that I have an issue with them having the guitar quiet. It's that it was almost needless. Why bother if you're just going to have the guitar like a tiny little bit quiet and then pull it back again? What's the point of it? You know, what's the point? Why would you have that? It's a very safe composition. I'm glad you enjoyed VSGF. That's cool, man. We're just chilling. We're just listening to music. It's all good. Sup, Jillian Lim? How you doing? I agree, yeah, it's too safe, man. It's too safe. Like, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the instrumental choices they've made, the tones and textures of them, like, the synthesizers are gorgeous, the strings and everything else. The individual elements of the mix are splendid. I wish there was more range in the vocal melodies and, like, the choruses and stuff. This is what I was talking about. Now, and especially in the 2020s, you either go completely batshit crazy, or you play it as safe as you possibly can. Those are the two options you have as a major label musician, because if you are not either intensely interesting because of your weirdness, or if you are not so safe that it's just going to be swallowed whatever, where do you stand in the modern music industry? You know, like, where do you stand? And I think that's the issue here with this particular song, the more recent release from Mayday, is that I don't think Mayday know how to do what they did before. So they're having to, like, that's a shame. Because I can almost guarantee you, Jillian, it's actually, you're right. It's something you can listen to whilst doing anything else. And, like, why play it? You can just listen to elevator music at that point. And I'm not saying that this song is elevator music. I think it's well produced. I won't say well produced because I don't like the limiting. I don't like the amount of lack of dynamic range in it. But I like the idea, the core concept of the song is great. They could, if they just been less anal about sterilizing it, I think, in post, it would have been great. So yeah. Yeah. I remember Jacob mentioning that like some of their other stuff was like a lot different and more fun and more alternative. And I kind of wish that I was listening to some of the more alternative stuff now, you know? I like Mayday, but I'm not sure if this is a smart idea. You know, if I was a cynical person, I'd say that they limit they make it flat. Absolutely, Jacob. They make it flat in the studio recordings, and I think that's part of why the live performances are so good, because you're actually there watching a person fucking sing. You know? This is why I think that live performances are so important, and it's what sucked about COVID is that you can't have the same experience with someone at their concert that you can listening to them on Spotify. Like, I'm sure that everyone here would be having a different experience if we were at a Mayday gig. In fact, honestly, like, I'm sure everyone would probably rather be at a Mayday gig, including myself, because then we could all just listen to that live and jam with Mayday. I don't think the song would sound the same live. I think you'd have that extra bit of humanity there. Live engineering is almost never as like, it's not like this, you know, you're just not going to get that kind of predictability there. You don't get that robotic automation. It's still not there yet, especially with some of the more seedy elements of it, you know. But yeah, I am glad that they've improved as musicians, and I am sad that they have to contend with this kind of paranoia by record labels who will not allow them to have more human performances. I'm not saying they need to make mistakes, but just it can be less perfect, you know? Anyways, I'll go to the lyrics. What do we got here? Because of you. Because of you. Cool. To be fair, like, again, this is why I complimented the musical concept. It does sound like fireworks, champagne, and balloons. Like, I don't know how you possibly capture that image of it. But when I was listening to this and I was kind of in my inner self, it was almost like I could imagine there being that the kind of golden, luxurious situation there with the musical theme. The imagery produced by the music is strong. The songwriting's, the actual concept is great. A candy in my palm. I like the imagery talking about angels and stuff like that and the wounds on his back on mortal planets and stuff. You know? You gave me your wings, take me through the wolves and the camera so I can taste a moment of freedom. I love the lyrics. The lyrics are really fascinating, dude. You know, the deepest story, the most eternal legend, it's just you, it's me who can live a normal life. I like the story that's being told. Because the world is bigger than you and me, and to the universe we're the smallest memories. Life is just a moment, the world is just a gap between heaven and earth. Why do people bother to live as sure? I adore the story. This is part of why I do the lyrics as well as the music, because I like to understand the story that's being told. And sometimes if I don't understand a piece of music, having the context of the tale behind it can allow me to, it can redeem it for me, because it's like, oh, I understand why it sounded like that, you know? I'm like, something might sound totally visceral and vicious, and it might be really affronting, but if the story explains it, you're like, oh, I totally get it. I think it's someone. It's the singer, the protagonist discussing someone else, wondering why they saved them. You know, wondering why they gave them their wings. You know, not wanting to have regrets, being inspired by that other person, feeling small in the manner of things, wondering like about their own existence, maybe having some sort of existential crisis or something like that. Taught me not to be afraid. You made me live with flesh and blood. Made them human. It's interesting. I'm not quite sure who they're talking to. But again, I love the imagery evoked. Story's great. The music's great. Production's good. Production's good. We've got track number 4 though. We've got Suddenly Missing You. By Mayday. So that's cool. Suddenly Missing You. Cool, let's do it. Let's go. This is a big one. It's got 45 million plays, dude. 45 million. It's good. What's up, Johnson Carl? How you doing? Yeah, it's a shame that we can't watch videos. I would love to watch videos during these. I think that you can like watch videos if you do it through Discord, but then that would bypass YouTube and stuff like that. I don't know, man. Like, I think through Discord you can like share the call and watch videos together. Maybe that's something we could do at some point, but then I'm not sure if YouTube would allow me to like to upload that. Like people like have like Discord like tiers where they have like monthly memberships, and I don't want to do that, man. I just want to be able to just chill and listen to music with y'all, so that's cool. But like, it's good that you enjoy that MV Johnson Carl, and it's great that they do really touching emotional stuff by that. It's up Fari Stelpacker. How you doing? This is quite nice. I like this one. When was this produced? There's more room for the vocals to breathe in this one. They sit nicely in the mix, and when he goes a bit more intensely, it suits well. But like, yeah, I'm enjoying this one a bit more. That was a cool concept there. That to me was instantly more imaginative than a lot of the stuff that we had in that previous track. I'm liking those quick chord changes. Thank you, I will try to keep up the good work. Hopefully you enjoy the videos and live stream and stuff like that. I appreciate the feedback. That's interesting. I like the fact that we occasionally have these chorus or fixed laden guitar parts. They're very occasional though, you know. Yeah, Jacob, I agree with you there. It's more intense. It's a little bit more engaging there. Epiphany, I personally feel sad people don't listen to slow songs. It's really the best song in Mayday. Totally, I'm happy that you vibe with it, dude. I don't mind slow songs. The main issue for me is just when the production sounds too sterilized, but slow songs are good, man. As long as they're meaningful and the story is good and the vote performance is good, can't really go wrong. It's nice to have the wow, actually. I like how that guitar is dancing. Wow. Wow, that was so cool. That was such a cool moment. That actually got me engaged. I was like thoroughly stoked with that, dude. I like how you had this consistent ascension with those harmonized guitars and the strings build it up and up and up. It just felt like more than what we had before. And you can tell the production isn't as polished on this. Like it sounds great, but it doesn't sound like the previous one. It sounds a little bit more raw, and I dig that so much, dude. Great solo. It's fun. Oh, that's what I wanted this whole entire live stream. That is what I've wanted this entire live stream, is just for the vocals are emotional. The vocals are really emotional. And that emotion comes through within that vocal performance. There's bits of vocal fry there. Some parts it sounds like he's breaking up a little bit. There is this intensity with it that is present here because, again, he has room to breathe. And I think that maybe he's less experienced in it, but that's actually to a benefit because it sounds more believable. And those guitar solos continuing throughout that interlude section, and then coming back into this part, and then here we've got the perceived loudness, everything simmering down a little bit, but it's earned. And the reason it's earned, the reason that it is earned is because you have these builds and stops. You have range there, that there's instruments taken away and come back. The harmonies are pristine, and they twist and turn, and they probably suit the lyrics really, really well. It's a classic. This is one of the best. This is probably my favorite Mayday song. And I am so sad that this is released 14 years ago. I wish I'd been listening to that kind of stuff when I was like 16, you know? I wish I'd been listening to that stuff around when I was a teenager. And a bit back up. Cool. Oh, so classy, dude. So classy, dude. Such a classy decision there. Oh, so good. That is what I've wanted this entire time from Mayday. Because I've heard their musicianship and their skill on their various instruments, and I've heard their ability to structure these really intense arrangements, but it's always felt quite safe for the most part. And to hear them actually be let loose, and it paid off. They've got like 45 million like plays on it, and every one of them feels like it's earned. Even the ending with the strings fading out like that, and they didn't just copy and paste the last chorus. They went and stopped halfway and brought it back down again, and you can't predict it, and that's part of why it's so cool, is because it's not predictable, and it's just, my goodness. I think that, to Mayday's credit, they know what works. And I haven't heard a bad song from Mayday, to be fair. You know. Sup, KY9999. How you doing? For me, I like this song the most. Don't know what is the English translation. General's orders. I can guarantee that from that song, right? there is probably an entire album's worth of music just like that that we are not going to get to listen to today. And it frustrates and disappoints me because I would like how many albums have they released? We've got time, by the way. We're doing really well for time. We've got a bit more time. They've released so much. So much, dude. They've done so. The best of 1999 to 2013. Wow. They've released so much material, dude. Look at all of this. Look at all the stuff they've made. Wow. It just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going and going, dude. It just, wow. Knowing that they've done that much is part of what allows me to appreciate this, but also be more disappointed by this one. But I don't think they wrote a bad song there. For the final time, I'll stop ragging on about it. It's just that the production was a bit weird. This song, however, is an absolute classic, and I'm totally stoked with it. Should we ever listen to The Legend tomorrow? Can someone like fan request The Legend tomorrow for the Mayday, for the fan request live stream tomorrow? If someone could do that, that'd be great, thanks. I'm so glad. But what are the lyrics for this? Apparently it's a sad song. Apparently it's a sad song. Suddenly Missing You. It does sound like a very sad song, you know? I fear my friend's unexpected visit. All that happened has led to where I've truly found myself. Having resolved losing you in this lifetime, I really fear receiving any news of you. I don't know how to take that. I don't know how to take that because losing you in this lifetime could mean several things. It could mean a relationship or someone that you're with and you're not with them anymore. But that could also refer to like someone that's died. I don't know which it is, but it is incredibly heartfelt. And while again Mayday do their utmost best to balance out the severity and intensity of the story with their major or minor fluctuations that flow effortlessly. It's hype. Thank you, Forest Alpaca. So Your Legend and Song of Battle. I would love to listen to these songs as part of like a fan request live stream, eh? It's, yeah. We were like a beautiful song now split into two sad movies. I think that it was a relationship breakup, and it's just, I get that. No one wants to hear that their ex is doing well, you know? No one wants to hear that their ex is happier without them, right? Are you well or are you not? Yeah, because it goes deeper than that. You're not sure if they're okay, you know? You hope for them, but it's painful to think about. No, we've heard a lot of different songs about this kind of stuff at this point. This is damn near perfect. We've got one more track to do today, though. One more song today for the top 5 Spotify for Mayday. Before I do this, thank you to everyone who's come along to this SB fan request, not SB fan request, this SB live streams for Mayday. Hopefully you guys have had a great time. I personally feel that I've been a little bit more of a reviewer today. I feel a bit more onto it, so hopefully the comments I've made have made sense. Hopefully the autocorrect has worked as well. I hope that the autocorrect is functioning correctly, but you never know. But yeah, man, we've got Mayday here after us lyrics with English translation, and that'll be the last song for today, I think. That's alright. Let's listen through this track from start till finish. We're gonna hear what we think. Let's go.
然后呢？他们说你的心似乎痊愈了，也开始有个人为你守护着。
Is there a Mellotron in the background there? Now that was fun. We had one less bar than we usually would, and it's a nice transitory decision there, you know. Mess with the listener's expectations. It's great. It's nice to have the vocals and the story forcing the music to follow along with it. And Jacob, just while I remember, I remembered actually having a small tear listening to this before because it makes me feel memories. I can assume that this song probably would mean a lot to certain people. A song that is this good, that is a classic. I apologize if I've made anyone sad by playing it. But it's a beautiful song regardless, you know? I like drumming along to the groove, man. Drumming along to the groove. Like just nodding my head to the groove, man. It just flows so exceptionally, dude. Nice subtle vocal harmonies there. Okay, building. Okay, bridge section. Okay. Alright. So while I remember, fun fact, I have actually reviewed Cheers before. I reviewed Cheers. I couldn't put Cheers on YouTube because YouTube got blocked automatically by YouTube. I can't put the Cheers video for Mayday on YouTube. But I have reviewed that song, and that song brought me to tears. The song utterly brought me to tears. Cheers is one of the most beautiful songs and beautiful music videos I've watched. I just don't think I could watch it again just because it was so visceral, you know? It really got to me. But I have definitely checked it out. Beautiful song. Thank you for reminding me of that track. I appreciate it. There's a nice natural vibrato going on here with the singer. In addition, I like the fact that when he's not singing, there's a call and response between him and the string sections. And he kind of flutters around, you know. That's stunning. In addition to that, that the piano parts are subtle, but they add a little bit of extra kind of sparkle and brightness to it. Oh, great build there. It's cool to have the piano and guitar in sync here. Oh, we're teasing a little bit, eh? We're teasing a little bit with that lead guitar on the right. Because I think we have an additional string section on this side, and then we have the distorted lead guitar on the right, and it's kind of crispy. And I think that's kind of what is allowing me to remain interested in this. I like that, like, there's parts of what I can hear on the third song within this from like a production standpoint. That bass is thick sounding though, isn't it, dude? It carries. Okay. No, whenever you're writing a song, right, and you don't know how to kind of add a little bit of dramatic tension before your next part, like a chorus or something like that, add like a -7 flat fifth or something to it. You know, add like a chord that's got a bit of dissonance to it. You're probably not going to get away with a parallel major or minor, but if you can get away with some sort of diminished triad or something like that, it's usually really, really helpful to kind of mess with the listener a little bit before you sort of even it out and resolve the harmony. Yeah, like... The layering of the different instruments in the mix is what's making this sound so huge. Effectively, the singer is repeating a very similar vocal melody for each of these takes. And while it works well and it's catchy, I am starting to feel a little bit of the same way I felt towards the third track. Nice note held here, though. The guy's got a set of lungs on him, doesn't he? The reason I can tell that there's a distinct lack of dynamic range is because I have this meter on here, right? I'm gonna bring this over so you can see it. We're gonna play the track, and I want you to keep an eye on this desktop audio meter, okay? You can see with my mic, see how like there's lots of, it moves a lot. So it goes like here, you can talk like this. Or I can go a bit harder and kind of get close to the red, right? We're gonna like watch what happens with the desktop audio for this track. Okay, we're gonna have a listen through that, okay? So there's a bit of range here, right? You know, you can tell that there's like a little bit of range there with the piano parts. The meter goes down a little bit, right? But the problem is in the chorus sections. It might not repeat it again, but that's fine. See that? See that? Do you see that? See how flat that is? Now, in a performance with a production with dynamic range, there would be like more than like a sliver of distance between the little bits. But the limiter is slamming down on the mix hard. That's why that little green bar is barely changing when we get into the chorus section. And that's why some of these performances sound flat. Because they've, in the master section, they've just flattened that limiter threshold. And it's just constantly like that. And like the previous track was probably a bit more, I know this looks really weird and I'm sorry if that's the case. But that's part of why the performances sound flat. Is because they over limit these songs, and then it's for perceived loudness purposes, but at the same time it sounds boring because all the drums, even when there's like accents or ghost notes, sound the same. He has, you know, and he does these louder notes, but it's all the same volume, so it doesn't have the same power it did otherwise. It's such a shame because I feel like if they'd used the approach to the production, the studio side of things that they used for the track from 2008, this would have been better. And I think that I would bet money on the fact that, like, if they could go back in time to 2008 and they could re-recording it using the way that they recorded this track, but for that song, I think that it would have sounded better with a bit more dynamic range in it. I know I've been complaining about it a lot, but this is stuff that I care about, you know? And it's part of the reason why a lot of music nowadays sounds the same, or it gets boring and it sounds the same throughout, you know? It's partly because of that, you know? And when you don't have dynamic range in a performance, it can also give listeners headaches because it's just constant barrage and pressure, you know? But anyways, aside from that, I'm pretty happy with these top 5 because this is, of course, well, it's not quite the conclusion. We have to do the lyrics. Hopefully I haven't made too many people irritated or bored by talking about the stuff with dynamic range. It's part of the world we live in right now, you know. You can literally go and spend like a few $100s US. I suspect they made some songs flatter to make it easier for both ladies and guys to sing karaoke. You're probably right. And if that's the case, that's completely fascinating to me. That would be... The thing to remember though as well is that Spotify, right? The platform that we're listening to this on, Spotify do this thing where they normalize the volume of tracks at a certain point. So what'll happen is if I was to upload a track and it was at -12, maybe it's a weird concept. Like, let's just say it's -12, so like it's 12 below the loudest you could ever have it ever, okay? And Spotify wants it to be at -14, which is, so that the -12 track could be 2 dB louder than what you'd want. Spotify will take that -12, it will compress and normalize and limit that so that you have less dynamic range. So what will happen is that if you try and do it louder, Spotify slams that down and puts it to -14, and that's also part of why tracks can have less dynamic range. Because a group like Mayday or whoever is producing Mayday might go for a really loud sounding track, but then what'll happen is Spotify will go, pfft, and then it'll just be like, even if they had dynamic range initially, it'll just sound flat and garbage, even if it's not necessarily the fault of the studio engineers. Just because these different platforms are trying to normalize these tracks so that everything is the same loudness. And that's so that when people listen on Spotify, they don't have to turn up their headphones up and down all the time. Spotify wants people to just listen to music until the end of time, as well as other digital stream platforms. And so they'll do your mastering for you. So it can be a detriment now to have your tracks too loud. And I suspect maybe that's something we had with this as well. But anyways, look, it's fine. We got the last track for today. Here After Us. How lie dear woman. They said that your heart seems to have healed. Oh, I get it. Someone's taking care of you. So it's similar to what we were talking about, not wanting to hear about the other person and how they're going after the breakup. Apart from times when memories wreak havoc, thankfully I have tears to dilute the pain. Wow. Wow. Oh, so they can't forget the memories of the past. Yeah, I would like to hear Mayday talk about some other stuff. I know that it's good music and I know the stories are told well, but I also want to hear a little bit more thematic diversity from them. What I want for you to be happy in the future, because that's the kind of angle that Mayday go by. They're very mature. You know, we're still walking in the future, but no longer side by side. No matter how stories develop in the future, our life in the future should also be amazing. So I like the fact that we're looking forward to a brighter future, for sure. You know, that's great. You know, I like the positivity there. Those things led us there. We learned to give and take in our lives. Wrap up past regrets for new happiness. This is how we walk in the future. Don't look back at me, my dear. Yeah, they're just not. Yeah. The other me is smiling. The other us is still deeply in loud and alternative reality. No matter how the story develops in the future, our future should be amazing. So basically, they've broken up. They're wishing each other well. It's painful to deal with in the interim, but they're hoping that in the future they can be the best versions of themselves. And, you know, that's basically the conclusion for this top 5 Spotify for Mayday live stream. JJ, I kind of echo the sentiments, my dude. I mean, like, I don't know how to base the rest of Mayday's catalog, but I'm surprised that Cheers isn't in here. Like, I feel like Cheers would have been a great track to have in here. I'm glad, Andres. I'm glad that you had it off. Disable, enable, volume normalization. It's tricky because sometimes Spotify does it anyways. No. Here's what people will do is that when you upload a track via DistroKid, it'll offer to get Spotify for you to do it for you anyways. And it's a trap. Because what happens is that if you just select the option for Spotify to normalize it before it goes live, it's normalized regardless of whether or not people want to have normalization or not. So you're screwed. It's almost like the situation with the digital stream platforms forces people to question whether they're actually mastering it at all. But look, I mean, aside from that, I think that Mayday, the stories that we had about relationships, kind of dealing with not wanting to hear the news of people, you know, the staring at the stars and the champagne and the beauty of it and all that. I think there's some lovely, wholesome themes that are discussed here. Yeah, my understanding is that, like, for instance, when I upload to DistroKid, it's an optional thing. So when you upload via DistroKid, you can offer. Hang on, I'll just start. No, I'll show you another time because I'm doing this SB tutorials thing at the moment, and we'll get to a point where I talk about how to distribute your music via DistroKid, and I'll take you through the process of doing that. But yeah, basically, you can choose to have it normalize your music before it goes on Spotify and stuff like that. Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. The trick is though, is that it doesn't matter as long as you hit that 14 lifts mark. And if you're a semi-decent, you know, mastering engineer, you'll have a loudness meter that you're using to check how loud your track is. Like when I record stuff for the SB Records project, I'm mastering to -14 because I don't want to have the dynamic range crushed, you know? Which, and JJ, I noticed the top 5 songs of Mayday on Spotify is all or mostly from Music Records and not their first label, Rock Records, which is a shame as well. This is why it kind of sucks that we're only going through like Spotify, but then YouTube blocks YouTube videos. And I know this firsthand, because I tried to upload the Cheers music review I did with the music video on it and went, nope, can't do it. Totally worldwide blocked. It's weird, man. But yeah, Mayday Final Chapter Envy is another touching song by them by Take One Hing. Well, maybe we could check that out in a fan request. It's also worth mentioning, not that you guys need to do this, but if you'd like me to do fan request music videos for you, you can become an SB patron and I can like review songs for you once per month. So if you haven't checked out the Patreon, maybe go check that out. I don't know, it's up to you. But to continue with the conclusion, I think the stories in this top 5 were great. I think that the way they were sung is fantastic. Clearly, these guys know how to structure vocal harmonies and melodies. They emote fantastically, especially in the second track. That was my absolute favorite. It comes across as a very authentic vocal performance. I think that in general, some of the later tracks were overproduced, and I think it removes some of the actual humanity from the performance, especially when you remove that dynamic range that I've completely bitched about for so long in this review. But all in all, I could do that. It's something I could look at, RC, something in future. I'm looking at my options, dude, but it's just, I just want to keep things simple at the same time, you know? I'm trying to keep a consistent schedule at the moment with these and a consistent, I just want people to be able to consistently have a good time with these, because I know that when like YouTube blocks videos, it kind of stops things and is a bit of a pain in the ass, you know? But, you know, the sing's great. The structure of the song's great, you know, like the songs aren't boring. There's interesting little half bits and interludes and bridges and solo sections and all this fun stuff. I feel like we occasionally are a bit overzealous with some of the chorus sections. I'm not necessarily sure that the first track here needed to be as long as it was. Put my sexy pic on the screen instead of photos. You guys should, if you guys can find a sexy pic of me, and I'm joking by the way, I don't think there is a sexy pic of me on the internet. But like, if you can find a photo of me, even like, I don't know, I've got one photo of myself that I like, and it's me in the snow with my guitar, and there's snow coming down around me. And it's a super cool photo, and I've always loved it, man. But yeah, look, the structuring of the tracks is great. The instrument performances were fantastic. Absolutely no complaints about it. Great interesting musical themes, diverse percussion, rhythms, harmonies, melodies, intricate solo sections. Musically and artistically, creatively, there was a wonderful sense of musicality to what we had by Mayday. I just feel that they were constrained by the expectations that they had on them, whether from producers or record labels. And I think that Mayday are at their best when they are doing stuff outside of their wheelhouse. I appreciate and respect the fact that the ballads and the slow songs and and all that are popular, and I think that it's go get that bread, you know? Go get those money dollars. People have to be able to pay their bills, right? But I want to hear more of Mayday's crazy stuff because I want to hear them have fun. Talk about some cool, crazy stuff. Go away. You know, like we've had a lot of songs about relationships and stuff, and I know they're popular, but let's go philosophical with it. You know, that's what I mean. It sucks as well because the music videos are often where the stories are, and it's like, but like, what if someone isn't watching the videos? What if someone just wants to have that intense, unique experience from the song? And that's what I need from Mayday. I appreciate the effort they've put in. I think they're fantastic musicians. And even though I may not agree entirely, especially with the post-production, you know, with the lack of dynamic range, I still understand why these decisions were made. I've got a lot of respect for them. All in all, I again, and like, it's not like the other parts like the EQing, stereo panning was intense, dude. Automation is just incredible. There are experts behind the desk. I just don't know what the hell happened. But yeah, I would love to listen to more songs from Mayday, but before then, before the fan request tomorrow, thank you very much for watching this SP live streams of the top 5 songs on Spotify from Mayday. Even though I agree that these may not be their actual best 5, they were 5 songs, and I can understand why they were where they are. Hopefully you enjoyed this live stream. If you did, please do go and show Mayday some love via their various social medias and the Spotify page. Stay cool and stay safe, and please also remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. Thank you to you all for sitting through this live stream and for listening to me complain about dynamic range for 20 minutes among the stories of the songs and listening to the tracks. And I will catch you tomorrow at 5:30 a.m. Universal Coordinated Time, or USCT, for the fan request live stream. Or next week, we may be doing a rather special guest for the SP Top 5 on Spotify. Okay. Theme it is. But yeah. Stay cool and stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next live stream. You're absolutely welcome, guys. Cheers for your time. Spiderhands out. And 3, 2,